Good evening. Today we have Professor Dr Rakesh Kumar Sharma, Vice Chancellor, Saveetha Institute of Medical and Technical Sciences, Chennai, India. Let's welcome him.
Vanakkam, Namaskar, good evening.
Vanakkam, sir. Good evening, sir. Namaskar. Thank you so much for accepting to be with us for the next 60 minutes. And it's a pleasure and it's an honor to have you in our show, sir. This show is for 60 minutes, which has 3 segments. First segment is focused on all about you, your childhood, your teenage, college days, early time, career, and till date, how you traveled and what are the learnings you had from the hurdles and challenges you had. So that's the first segment. Second segment is the core topic, impact of COVID on environment, education, and applied research. The third would be the surprise segment that I'll touch when we come there, sir. Now we'll start from you, sir. Who is Professor Dr. RK Sharma? Where did he do his schooling? Where was he born? So over to you, sir.
So thank you, Hari. Today we are celebrating 1 year of our meeting on Facebook also.
Yes,
so,
sir.
So technically speaking, if I say who I am a Homo sapiens living on planet Earth. And since I am watching now Mahabharat, old and new version also, so I can say that I'm a soul living in this body that took birth around 62 years back.
Okay.
We are originally from Himachal Pradesh.
Okay,
I
sir.
am born and brought up in Delhi. What you are all seeing and hearing me on the screen, this is just a material body. We create material things from our thoughts. Thoughts are very important. The big
Yes.
innovation is made by a thought of making it possible. See, I have seen this thing in my life, and I'll give you 2 examples during the course of our discussion.
Sure,
We
sir.
become that by believing or practicing it by focus. So I will now not come into that, but at appropriate time I will just tell you how I can say that if we think about a thing, we become that thing also.
Sure, sir.
So who I am as an individual does not matter as much as who we are as a society. I had a very modest upbringing. If you come to first ground of my study, my school life, share an interesting anecdote I would like to share about my official date of birth. See, I was born in actually in December 27th, 1958, but my official date birth is 16 July 1958. When I asked my mother why this discrepancy, she told me a very interesting story. My elder brother is about 1.5 year old, older than me. So he used to go to school, and I used to cry that I also have to go to school along with him. So one day my father took me to the school and met the headmaster and showed him that I was born on so and so date. He said, "No, you have to be 5 years." So then my father said, "What is the solution? Because this boy is troubling us quite a lot, and we have to find a solution." He said, "I can admit him if you change the date of birth to today's date, that is 16th July." So that is
Oh,
why now in official record, I was born on 16th July 1958. See, I studied in a Hindi medium Delhi government school. I came from a very poor family, and
okay.
to be very frank, I learned ABCD in class 6. That too also from a government school. And from class 6 onward, I used to avail book bank facilities during my higher secondary education. And the most shocking thing in my life came when I was to appear for higher secondary examination, class 11th that time. And when I went to get my roll number, my teacher told me that you have to return all the books. I said, "Sir, after 1 month there is examination. What I will do without books?" He said,
Hmm.
"No, that's the rule. No dues means no dues, and books has to be returned." So that
Okay.
was the biggest shock in my life, which changed my life in a bit because I was not knowing what to do. I had no notes. I have not prepared that I was to return the books, and I was suddenly all the books were taken away, and I was asked to sit in the examination. So this is the biggest lessons I learned in the life, that you have to plan well, and not that you leave everything in the end, and yes, you would just revise your thing from the book on the eve before the examination. So as expected, I could not get my first division in higher secondary, but mathematics was very good subject, very subject which is very close to my heart. So it was, I call it, it's a most beautiful and most powerful creation of human spirit, mathematics. So I got distinction in mathematics and very less marks in all the subjects. And science, I could get
Okay.
reasonably good marks. So by the way,
Okay.
I can say that my wife Poonam is a great mathematician, and she is
Okay.
a science teacher teaching math. And
Okay.
in our
Good.
family, when I passed out, there was nobody to guide us about my career because nobody has done graduation. So I depended on my Mosi, a distinct relation, and she suggested that you take up pharmaceutical sciences. She was a lecturer in a college of pharmacy in Delhi. So she said, you take up pharmaceutical sciences. To be very frank, I was not knowing ABC and all that. I just asked her, what about employability? She said, you will get, don't worry. And since my marks were less, I could not get admission in B pharmacy because for that you require at least a good first division. So I took admission in diploma in pharmacy. And since, as I told you about my background, that I used to come from a very poor family, so I applied for merit cum means scholarship during the first year. So I got some help from that. And but in the first year I got second rank in my class, and from second year I got a merit scholarship from second year onward. And then because of the rank I got in second year, I got lateral entry into second years of 4 year B pharmacy course. I did my very best to study hard, and I you can say I always got silver medal in the university level every year in all the 3 years. So my merit scholarship was continued in all the 3 years. And at that time, I'm talking about 1979, Delhi University was not having master degree in pharmacy. So only bachelor degree courses were there. So we were to go out, and I was not knowing again where to go. Then I again approached my aunt, and she said, I did from Chandigarh. Why don't you try in Chandigarh, Punjab University? So I tried. I got admission in M Pharmacy. I got UGC Senior Research Fellowship again, but that amount was very small and not enough to for me to sustain in a hostel and all that. So I started giving tuitions also along with my studies in M Pharm. So I received my research training from a very a great guru from pharmaceutical sciences, Professor Harkishan Singh. Recently, he died in the month of February. He is the only pharmacist who has received Padam Shri in India, and he has really made me what I am today as far as research and education is concerned, because he was a role model for me to emulate. And during my college, this thing, surprisingly, people never knew my way by my first name. They used to give me a nickname, scientist. I don't know why they call me scientist. Maybe all my classmates may be knowing better because they may be watching. Some of them may be watching it. I have shared the link today in the morning. But irony is that I eventually become a defense scientist in 1983. So this is the first point. I told
Mm.
you that 2 points I said. If you think about a thing, you become that thing. So since I was named as scientist during all my college, this thing, people used to even call me scientist in classroom, also in front of teacher. And I become ultimately defense scientist. And I think in my whole batch, I am the only one who has become a defense scientist. So going through again in my life to become defense scientist, there was one post of pharmacy advertised through UPSC.
Mm.
Again, you can think of one post of pharmacist advertised through UPSC in 1981. There were 23 applicants, and I think
Oh,
14 of them were having PhD, and I was doing PhD that time.
okay.
So to be very frank, Delhi was my hometown. UPSC was in Delhi. So when the interview letter came, I just thought selection is very difficult. Let us go and see how UPSC take interview. So I just begged a bag from my brother and something to put my certificates and reach UPSC. And to be very frank, I was very depressed when I met all the people, and I just said hello to almost everybody and
Okay.
wished them all the best because I knew that I may not be getting it. And that particular thing that I knew that it's difficult to get made me slightly bold in front of
Uh-huh.
the interview board. So to
Okay.
be very frank, I answered almost 99% of the question, and
Uh,
only one question was there which I
okay.
could not answer. And I like to share that question also. Is very interesting question. A particular gentleman, he asked me formula of a compound which is used as a chemical warfare agent. Now we are talking about NBC or CBRN.
Mm.
I told him
CVRNE.
I can write.
Mm.
So then he said, how do you synthesize it? Frankly speaking, I was not doing the synthesis. But I told him, sir, sorry, this is my pen. I will not attempt paper synthesis. Give me about 1 hour time, access to the library. I'll give you the most cost-effective synthesis in the world, but I will not attempt paper synthesis. He asked me two, three times, and then he left, and then a chairperson said, go out. So I went out and I came to my university, started pursuing my PhD again, and then suddenly one day I got this thing that I have been selected. So I had to leave my PhD midway, and when I joined DRDO in DRD Gwalior, that year I have to undergo one 12-week foundation course at Defense Institute of Work Study, Missouri. This is
Hmm.
make us class one officer and tell us about how government works and all that. In that course, every week there used to be capsule examination. So I was the only one to get alpha grade, means more than 70% marks, and I secured first rank in that course. So I got interested into management. I did a 2 year postgraduate diploma in business management with project management specialization afterwards from Punjabi University, Patiala, and I acquired my PhD from University of Delhi. But there again, I should say that I worked in University of Frankfurt, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, CDRI, Lucknow, and All
Hmm.
India Institute of Medical Sciences to fetch my PhD degree, because my problem was that I required very sophisticated equipment. And to be very frank, till I retired from DRDO, I never purchased any equipment in crores. I purchased equipment in thousands or lakhs. I used to work on equipment purchased by my colleagues. So I have worked in total for about 36 years in DRDO labs, four laboratories of life sciences laboratories of DRDO, and I made a significant contribution in the area of CBR and defense, development of new drugs, novel drug delivery system. That is my education, herbal radio protector, herbal biothreat mitigators, nutraceuticals, and all that. So, and finally, I retired as a scientist G and director of Defense Food Research Lab, Mysore. So, one thing which I think this whole journey of DRDO of 36 years, uh, wherever I was placed, wherever I was placed, I'm saying again with very conviction, I excelled. Whether you place me in Gwalior, whether you give me chemical warfare agent theory, whether you give me the task of making MIC after Bhopal thing happened, putting water, finding out what were the constituents, identifying them, and working out a antidote for that, or whether you put me in mass, that is in Delhi, and after Chernobyl, and asking me to do some studies on the soldiers who were posted on near Chernobyl, or whether you ask me to work with the Mayapuri incident and help people find out the radiation dose with the help of EPR spectroscopy, I excelled. I excelled. So that is all my journey as a scientist. And during this journey, I acquired five fellowships of various
Hmm.
societies.
Hmm.
That is Institution of Chemists I acquired, Indian Association of Biomedical Scientists I got a elected fellow, Society of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, Indian College of Nuclear Medicine, Association of Food Sciences Technologists of India. So from chemistry to biology to pharmacy to nuclear medicine to food sciences, I have become the top person in those societies. I
Okay.
have guided 13 students for PhD. One is presently working. I have got more than 350 papers published, 26 patents I have filed. I can tell you
Okay.
in the last 3 months, I have filed three patents.
Oh,
Three patents.
wow.
One patent is on a mobile COVID lab. We made
Hmm.
a mobile lab in Mysore that was mainly for finding adulteration in food, or maybe biothreat agents in food and water. But same lab we just converted within no time, and that lab was given to the government hospital in Mysore. And now tests of COVID are being done there from the very day one. So
Okay.
this small modification we patented, and two more patents we filed on biothreats agent in this time. And I have worked on 10 publications, and three of them are on finding out some drugs for COVID. And one of my compound, which I sold to Dr. Reddy's lab for about 25 lakhs, 2-deoxy-D-glucose. I'm happy to say that compound is now being tried by Dr. Reddy lab against COVID, and this is a study
Hmm.
which is registered with CRT. It's called a randomized open label two treatment group clinical trial evaluating the safety and efficacy of 2-deoxy-D-glucose as an adjuvant therapy to standard of care in comparison to standard of care alone in the acute treatment of moderate to severe COVID-19 patient trials. And I also was
Wow.
honored with the DSC on Riscarza. So this is all about my
Okay.
research activities till date. Now you may be wondering how I have come to education, being educationist and academician. I was very passionately involved with academic activities during my tenure in DRDO, and I started two courses, one under Bharatiya University, MSc Radiation Science, and other when I was director of Defense Food Research Lab, that was a MSc Food Science and Technology course under the DRDO deemed university called as Defense Institute of Armament Technology in Pune. And I also worked for my postdoc in Max Planck Institute for Biological Cybernetic in Tübingen, Germany. And I am adjunct professor, honorary professor of two universities. One is Jamia Hamdard, other is Abhinashalingam University, Coimbatore. And again, I said there is a saying that if you want to be someone, be that one, feel like being that one, and next moment you will be that. So I was very happy after retirement. I was handpicked and selected by a duly appointed committee. I got a call from Saveetha University that registrar said, "Can you send me your biodata?" I said, "What is the post? What is the university you are talking about? I have not heard about Saveetha University. I have not heard about where it is located in Chennai." So ultimately, I was called for to appear before a selection committee, and then out of five persons, I was selected, wherein one person was from the selection committee was from UGC rep also. So I'm proud to say that I am now heading this university as a vice chancellor, steering this university. It is basically a healthcare university. We have got NABH accredited Saveetha Medical College and Hospital, and also Saveetha Dental College, which is our I think star college. And we have got also Saveetha School of Nursing, College of Pharmacy, Saveetha College of Physiotherapy, Saveetha College of Occupational Therapy. These are all in healthcare sector, and we are promoting innovations in outcome-based research. And to be very frank, related to COVID, we made N95 masks. They are called as SAB lab masks. We made sanitizers in the month of March itself. We made face hood, and we had given couple of them, maybe in hundreds of thousands, to ITBP, to NDRF, to Chennai Airport, to Chennai Police. And I was told by our director medical that till 9th of July, we have admitted 670 COVID patients in our hospitals. And as on date, there are about 166 patients which are active. And beside that, we also started COVID home care facility. And in addition, in our university, we have got School of Law, Management, Physical Education, Architect and Design, and all that. Our university is NAAC A grade, and this year in National Institutional Ranking Framework, we have improved our ranking. We are now 42 amongst all universities. Our overall rank is 66. When I say 66, it is amongst 5,000 plus institutions, which includes IITs, which includes IIMs, which includes central universities, all state and central universities, and we are ranked 66 overall. And in dental, we are ranked fourth. And recently, India Today has put us on eighth rank in emerging college in medicine, and we got 34th rank among the medical college. Our engineering college is having 149th rank. And one more interesting thing, we are talking about digital education. So SIMATS received QS Gauge E Lead. When I say E
Oh,
Lead, it's e-learning excellence for academic digitization certification
oh.
with full score 100 by 100 from QS Era India Private Limited. And also we got Section 12B approval from UGC, and also continuation of our Section 3 also this year. So this is all about my education and all that. Now the second parts, maybe you can tell.
uh, the lessons which you learned from this journey, sir, because this is actually what I felt is like visually I was able to run through the more like reading a book, episode by episode you covered, and
Yeah.
the lessons learned from the hurdles which you face, sir. Any areas which you'd like to highlight, key lessons in this
See,
journey?
I don't call hurdle, I call them challenges.
Challenges,
So
challenges. Okay.
so if you take R&D productivity challenge, I should call them R&D productivity challenge. So we have to design some strategies to solve this R&D productivity challenge. So first and foremost is you have to be decisive.
Mm.
Lack of quick management decisions can hurt innovation and research. In innovation and research, if you delay decision by few moments, the person who is doing research under you or who your colleague, he get demotivated very fast. You have to be staying connected with the end users. There is no fun of doing a research which has got no end users. End user could be even a society, end user could be armed forces which were there in defense. And I think one lesson, gone are the days of working in isolation. So you can't work in isolation. You have to be in a collaborative mode with academia and industry. You have to look for the best partner, best technologies, best network to create, build, and defend added values. So I should say not collaboration, it should be hyper collaboration. We have to
Okay.
share resources. As I said, I never purchase costly equipment. I used to say, see where these equipments are available in the country or abroad, and I used to find ways how to reach those equipment. If it is abroad, whether I can take help of ICMR or DST or DBT, or if it is in India, my organization can support me. And then you have to be focused. You have to develop a vision. You have to reignite imagination of not only yourself but also your team. You have to hunt for emerging problems and virgin challenging area. Again, here I got a very interesting anecdote which I always say. I say never marry a research problem. I have seen certain professors, certain scientists, the problem will start on day one. They retire with the same problem on their retirement day. But I can proudly say that every 4 years or 5 years, I have changed my field. And I have started a niche field starting from
Then,
ABC, I reach up to top or maybe second last rank in the top, and then suddenly I drop down to a new field, start a new field again. That is the way I can maintain the challenge in my whole way of working. So you have to be again do different thing and you do it differently. There is a word, I don't want to use that word because it's taken in a different concept. It's called me too. People will take, you know, that gender this thing, me too things are there. See, in research also there is a me too. When the nanotechnology thing came up in the whole world, everybody was talking nanotechnology, everybody was saying I am working on nanotechnology.
okay.
I always tell to my research scholars, number one, none of you will share your research problem with your colleague. If there are 9 research scholars working with me, they will be working on 9 different problems. Number two, I want you to be proudly saying, I am one or amongst the few top 10 in the world who is working on this problem. I don't want to say, me too also working on nanotechnology, me too also working on herbal technology. Even herbal technology, if you are working, then I told them I want this whole thing to be done using the evidence based, using the
Right.
pharmacological method, toxicological method. I even worked on antibiotic resistance microorganisms like NDM1 or methicillin resistant Staph aureus, or the one which causes your pneumonia, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, using drugs which are from herbal origin. But again, I devised one bioprospection approach, 7 step, and we used to do a lot of work in silicio on computer before we actually start doing experiment. And when we start doing experiment, we used to follow all the guidelines available in the world. So whatsoever product we come out in the end, it should be unique product and publishable anywhere in any journal. So I believe in splitting the research team into 3 teams: innovation team, research team, and development team. So depending upon the acumen or the background or the interest of the person, you give me any person, I can fit him in any 3 of these areas. And no
Wow.
person is useless in research. Any person you give me, I can take some work out of him or her in some very positive way. I can challenge it. So I always say that you have to become a change maker. You have to develop supersonic skills. You have to set smart goals as the first step in turning the invisible into the visible, and you have to be practical as well as generous in your ideals. Keep your eyes on the star, but remember to keep your feet on the ground. You have to be always grounded. You have to always think of the last person who can be benefited by your innovation. And again, setting goal, I always say I want to set a goal a bit higher than the capability of a person. Let us say my capability is 100%. So I'll set a goal 120%. So once I set a goal 120%, I knew very well from the very first day that 120% is not feasible to achieve. So even if I worked and I am able to get 101%, I have exceeded my capability. So I always set a goal slightly higher than this thing, and I'm raising the bar continuously. And again, I give some stress to all my workers. But this stress, I call it as a use stress, positive stress, which result in
Positive.
increased, yeah, which result in increased performance. And I keep a very a small watch on their activity so that this use stress should not turn into distress. So wherever they feel that, sir, it is going beyond me and I'm not able to do, I used to say, give it back to me, I'll do it. Fine. And so that stress is gone. That person second day will be again charged up and they will say, no, no, sir, give it back to me. I will work on that and I'll show you the result. So again, there is a small thing which I put on my Facebook also a few days back. It says, title is Don't Just. They say, don't just learn, experience. Don't just read, absorb. Don't just change, transform. Don't just relate, advocate. Don't just promise, prove it. Don't just criticize, encourage. So similarly, we say, don't just exist, you should live. So that is the message which I want to go at the end of this thing. And the only way that we can live is if we grow. The only way we can grow is if we change. And the only way we can change is if we learn. And the only way we can learn is if we are exposed. So we have to be exposed to the circumstances, then only you can learn. And the only way that we are exposed is if we throw ourselves into the open. We have to come out of this air conditioned labs and all that. I have gone to central Himalayas, northern Himalayas, and I have done solutions for food for the soldiers in their settings. I have installed one 3-ton food silo at the central Himalayas, just at the base camp of Kargil. So
Hmm.
they can store any amount of food, and
Hmm.
for that, this my whole silo was energy independent. I am just harnessing the energy of sun. From that, I used to preserve, and that inside the temperature will be 18 degree, 8 degrees, 5 degrees, frozen and deep frozen. And outside temperature is minus 53
Oh, oh,
without
oh.
any energy, without even using one drop of petrol or other lubricant. So this is what I have done in Central Himalaya. In Tawang, in Arunachal Pradesh, I have put even a food lab there. There were a lot of problems, so I got one area which was belonging to Defense Research Lab Tezpur. I got access to some barracks which were not habitable. I got them changed, modified, and converted them into food lab. I purchased equipment, sent it from Mysore. So those equipments are now there. My team go there, and we have even got ex-servicemen, local produce we are processing, and they are selling it there. So no need of transportation. So we are increasing the shelf life of the food at their a point where they are grown. So army jawans are quite happy about it. So this type of solutions I always give, and I try that my solutions are should be useful to all the soldiers.
Thank you, sir. It's really nice to hear the things, especially, and also as you exactly said, most of the things which you told are our first time I'm listening to the areas and the way solutions are thought of, and people who you have focused to provide solutions. Uh, I can only say hats off to you, sir. The first
So again,
segment is
you have to imagine getting a army land from Northern Command, which is belonging to army, putting a army man on board, teaching him the
that
technology, and handing over him a very sophisticated equipment, which even I am not using it at my DFRL, and they are using it now perfectly.
and these kind of things are actually nice to hear, and the motive of this kind of sessions where different experts from different sectors come and they share their knowledge and they share their journey that inspires people who are watching. We have Mr. Hemant Gautam, one of our viewers, said exciting and ignite talk. Then we have Mr. Prakash Kondekar from Mumbai. He's saying great going, doctor. Then Mr. Hemant has asked how to overcome by some hurdles you face in your journey. The one which you just touched, he was asking that.
See again, see, I am very clear. If I want a land, I want a land. Uh, we have to devise something. So I met the Northern Commander GOC. I said, please fix up a meeting with Northern Commander GOC. So they said, sir, it is Udhampur, don't go there, the area is not safe. I said, what is not safe? He is living there, he has to take care of me. So I went there, met him, and I said, here is a CD about what I want to do, and this is the machine I want to design. I'm giving you drawings. Give me a place, give me an officer with whom I can talk, who should be able to clear all the barriers. Again, think of one big machine, 3-ton machine, 3-ton silo being sent by road from Mysore, and how much times in a civil vehicle,
Mm.
and how much hurdle that person who is to assemble it there. I said that person should be a go-getter. He should bulldoze all the problem. No problem should come to me. The person, I said, please delete my phone number from your this thing. You have got now a major looking after you. In case that major you want to complain against this thing, then again use my phone number. But don't tell me, sir, I've got this problem, that problem. That major will solve it. So I'm very happy everybody did, and I can again tell you one very interesting story. We used to have a young scientist project in the lab. So he has taken this project very ambitiously, and also we were part of a big biothreat mitigation project wherein we promised that we would deliver biosafety lab 3 on a mobile platform, which can be airlifted, which can be sent on wheels to different places, or which can be even transported by rail. So again, my own people in headquarters, DRDO headquarters, the project was sanctioned. Money was there with me, money for the vehicle, money for the container, and that technology was there with the scientist, what he wanted. But they said, who is the user? I said, okay, let me find out. I went to ASC, I went to AMC, I went to even veterinary corp, and directly spoke to their DG. I said, have you got a vehicle of this type? Let us say there is an anthrax attack somewhere, or anthrax, you can say episode somewhere. I should not use the word attack, because anthrax is something which can happen in villages also. So, how do you go and test it? How do you certify milk is free from anthrax? He said, no, it's a very difficult thing and public health people will do. I said, okay, come with me to Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. They said, sir, we can't do anything. If samples come, we'll send it to Gwalior and then they will do further. I said, no. If you suspect anything, you give a call to me. My vehicle will be there within 24 hours, and all the reports will be given to you there and then, and the vehicle will communicate to me wirelessly. This is what I want. So all this letter I got, I put the bundle on the table. I said, Madam, this is for you to assimilate and all that, and I have started my work. So we used to have a practice of, say, seeking permission from DRDO headquarters to purchasing a vehicle. I said, what practice? Why do you want this thing? He said, no, sir, this is a practice. We have to seek permission from HRD. I said, no, place the order. Let us go by route, government route, and we will place the order. And once the vehicle will come, we'll get the BA number, army number from the headquarters. So again, this was the first time this thing happened. And similarly, there was a quadricopter which was named by this Netra, prepared by our lab in R&D engineers in Dighe in Pune. So when this thing came, I told my chief controller, Dr. Murthy sir, I want one or two this quadricopter Netra for my training, CBR and training. He said, what do you want to do with that? I said, I want to detect a radiation source and somewhere hidden in some bushes and all that. And I want to put a small radiation detector on this Netra vehicle, and then this UAV, and then he said, how much you are confident? I said, 0%. He said, what is your background? I said, 0%. He said, you want money to be put in the drain? I said, yes, sir. So he said, okay, I do it. So he did, not only he sent me 2 Netras, he gave me 2 vehicles also, 2 Scorpios. He said, wherever you want to take this vehicle, do some exercise in the field, in army units and all that, take the vehicle there. So I got this small radiation detector designed by our defense lab Jodhpur, and this whole thing was integrated by R&D engineers. So if you ask me what is my contribution is zero. I just put the people together. I knew where the technology exists. I know where the companies exist. I put them together and made something. And if this thing would have been available with us before Mayapuri, in one small sortie of 10 minutes, we could have identified D32 shop where this cobalt thing happened. Wherein my NTR people, they got a lot of radiation when they were doing with the detector from shop to shop and from door to door.
Interesting, sir, because most of the areas which you said, and there are a lot of, in fact, even the CBRNE conference, the one which recently happened, the one where I was as well, I was also there. A lot of areas, the people who came, the discussion points, and then the areas touched, the more important and the focus areas are all like each one maybe compiled in a book and submitted to the government, because most of the areas, especially with what we are seeing now with COVID, we'll move to the next segment, sir, where the impact of
before, before
COVID-19.
before we go to
Yes, sir.
second segment, since you talk about
Yes,
CBRN, in this last
yes,
two
yes, yes,
months, I have been
yes.
able to steer some of the CBRN veterans who have retired from
Oh,
DRDO, from atomic energy, from different
wow.
army units, and we
Uh,
are now going to register one society. It's called CBRN Warriors. Sorry, this warrior word was not taken from Corona Warriors. This was
uh,
my own creation in February. In
okay.
February, I named the society. We made a WhatsApp group, and now I think within next 1 week we are going to register it as a society or as a cooperative, and then we want to participate. It's a no profit no loss, but again just to put the sources together. We,
Hmm.
because after retirement these resources are just of no use to the country, so we are giving them a platform. You come to this platform and help the country improve CBL preparedness.
Okay.
So let us come to your
Yes, sir.
COVID.
No. And this CBRN also takes volunteers or people who are interested, who want to who want to support in those areas, sir.
Yes,
This
yes, yes.
warriors. Okay.
I have to come. I have to come to you. I have to come for connectivity with other NGOs and
Sure,
like-minded
sir.
persons,
Sure,
because we are
sir.
only
Will.
going to touch the technical aspects. We have put
Okay.
certain companies also who are going to develop some equipment for us and fabricate some equipment,
Sure, sir.
and we'll help NDRF and other
Okay.
relief response bodies.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. We'll move on to the second segment, sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
you
Sir.
asked me to speak on the effect of COVID. See, the
Ah.
impact of COVID extend well beyond the death and disease caused by the virus itself. To be very frank, the sudden emergence of this coronavirus and associated COVID-19, that is coronavirus disease, which started in 19, pandemic is stressing the public health infrastructure all around the world. We are going through a very tough and challenging time. Coronavirus has significantly changed the contours of personal and professional life. It has brought with it many disruptions. The history of COVID-19 pandemic is still being written, it's still not over. And as a public health mitigation strategy, most countries have turning into social distancing of some sort or the other. Again, the word has to be physical distancing. Social word is not correct, because socially we should be always jointed, and physically we should be distancing so that we can break the chain. And while the strength and rigor of the social distancing policies vary across the globe, a large fraction of the global populace has, within the last few weeks, significantly reduced their human personal contact, that is the contact. So this contact has to be kept alive. And post lockdown, if you look at what are the positive impact there, first of all, I talk about the positive impact. So this quarantine welcomes idea, hacks, hackathons are there, tips and tricks to beat the lockdown and help our community. A lot of government bodies have come out with a lot of competitions, even councils, pharmacy councils and other people have come out with open competition. So it has changed the way you emote, you connect, and you maintain relationship. To be very frank, we have moved from handshake, hugs, and high fives to hand waves, namaste, head bows, etc. So we are redefining how to build genuine relationship. And about hygiene and sanitation, being hygienic is no longer just a good habit, but the very skill you need for survival. So if I go to a barber shop today and I find that barber is sanitizing me and sanitizing himself and giving me a disposable covering, and then even he is using a disposable razor, so all this thing at a slightly higher cost. So we have to, I think, learn how to practice better hygiene. I was very happy to see a pan wala in Banaras selling pan by wearing
Uh,
disposable clothing.
yes, 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 yes,
So,
yes.
so innovation to stay connected with your teams and loved one, a lot of them. Yeah, if you look at me, I am now expert of using Team, Google, this thing, and Microsoft Team and Zoom, and now today you exposed me to StreamYard. So a lot of things we are learning. Google Play also, and so we have also started working remotely. And also education has become digitized, and in a way I think if this whole thing will last longer, it will become affordable also in the long run. And a new wave of online tools and software have emerged that can ship digital classroom and virtual office space seamlessly. So we are stepping towards robotic era. I am very happy to see the photograph of robot dispensing food items to the COVID patients in the wards and all that, and also medicines. And also, we have got a sudden acceptance of remote work in India. So this practice was almost like a norm in the country like the US, but in India it was there in some IT companies, but not accepted otherwise. And this enabled a cultural shift within weeks and months towards remote working, which could have originally taken probably a decade for us to go into. And automations are there in manufacturing, in retail, in hospitality sectors. We are seeing now robots delivering food items, and also we are seeing increasing adaptation of technologies such as touchless, immersive technologies, robotics, cloud computing. And one thing we have to always keep in mind, we talk about the impact on the environment, which I'll discuss in a few short while from now. The environmental improvement is not sustainable and long lasting, because as the benefit of pollution reduction will also be raised after lockdown is fully lifted. So we have to promote work from home practices wherever they can be, and this can cut carbon emissions as a short term gain. And one thing we have to keep that when we say social distancing, you have to avoid getting psychological thing, because working in isolation causes depression, increases aggression, and we use a term called as OCD, obsessive compulsive disorders, like washing hands and using sanitizers. So now, even if I go to say a lift, I need to wash my hand.
Ashwin.
I use to sanitize my hand. But again, look at my hand. If I use them excessively, first of all, are we going to spoil my skin? Are we going to increase, because we cannot use them indiscriminately? And also soap. This is all going to drain to some river and some sea and all that, and create some problem. So if you look at what are the issues with the work from home, I call
Hmm.
them under category. One
Hmm.
is that screen time. Nowadays, children are spending 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours for online meet, online lessons, video conferencing. And second issue, as I said, is physical inactivity. This is also going to be a pandemic, I can tell you very soon, because already 4 5 months are over, and we are becoming more and more lethargic, sitting at home, no working, no gymming, no this thing. So we have to see that how we can avoid this pandemic of inactivity. And third thing, as I said, is about health issues of watching the screen of TV or mobile or your laptop or iPads. This can give you some fatigue or some problem to the eyes, and also watching, as I said, OCD, obsessive compulsive disorders, can give you premature skin aging or hand dermatitis. So these are the issues which I see that these are the disadvantages of technology. But again, we should not lose hope and brood over the negative side effect of COVID, especially when, as a community, we are battling a global pandemic. For every low, there is a high, and it's true that even this current scenario have a silver lining to it. With so many people sitting at home, factory partly closed, air traffic working to the minimum, and fewer vehicles on the road and also in the sea, the environment has drastically improved due to reduction of human interference, resulting in slashed greenhouse emission. The pandemic seems to be having positive side effect on Earth. So as the coronavirus pandemic unfolds across the globe, threatening lives and upending the world's economy, the impact of environment is both positive as well as negative. So if you look at positive aspects, I'll put them into four categories. The first is wildlife. You
Hmm.
are seeing now incidences of nilgains on Noida roads, or at Tirupati we are seeing deers. And then we are seeing in Kerala some animals which were thought to be extinct or very less in number. So all these things is a good sign. Animals have been spotted moving about freely where once they would not dare to go. Second thing is on air quality. Delhi
Hmm.
itself is a big example of air quality.
Hmm.
Air quality level has improved drastically. In Delhi, we have not seen blue
Kumar.
sky for many decades. To be very frank, our sky used to be very gloomy or sometimes brownish black or smoky. So now this blue sky is visible. And if you look at water quality, water has cleared up, leading to thriving of marine life. Again, fishing is very less, so marine life is thriving. I have seen now photographs of turtles hatching their eggs, laying their eggs in
Correct.
Odisha beaches and all that.
Correct.
Very positive sign. And vegetations, you go to a park now, park is full of green things, and only
Correct.
thing bad is that you can't smell because you have got a mask in front of
Mask.
you.
Correct. Right. True.
So this beauties of nature we cannot do. But again, the pearl side of that, the bad side of that is there is dramatic increase of medical waste.
Mm.
Single-use plastic, which government has
Mm.
banned, it
Mm.
has now removed us because most of our PP is made of
Yes.
single-use
Yeah.
plastic.
True. True.
And
True.
also packaging material, we are giving lot of orders now, online orders we are giving even for our food and grocery. So lot of packaging materials are there, so again this is adding up to waste. And again, in hospitals, especially COVID hospitals, I think we have to be very very cautious of recyclable waste, because I am seeing even face masks being littered not only around hospitals but also in the streets. So we have to, I think, devise a very strong policy about this medical waste, which is now going to come from public. And just like
Correct.
we said, quitting is banned. Similarly, I think throwing a mask on the say streets, it should be also banned and fined. And also because the waste collection workers, they are at risk. Recycling activity, people who are involved in that, they may help in virus propagation. So threat on environment and natural resources basis as a result of coronavirus pandemic and consequential social and economic impact requires attention by government and all of us. So again, when we talk about normal, new normals, again, I have got very strong views. So
Mm.
many people are talking about how they can't wait for things to go back to normal. My own son says he wanted to go out and go for a long drive and eat pizza and all that in
Mm.
a Domino's or things like that.
Mm.
But to be truthful, I hope we will never get back to normal. I am saying it with very strong conviction.
Mm.
I'm sure we will never go back to normal, what we used to call it as normal. We won't go back to normal because what we used to call normal no longer exists. When this pandemic end, and it will end, when nobody can say, a new normal may last for few months, a year, or maybe forever. So we have to see that in the rush to return to normal, use this time whatsoever we have got to consider which part of normal are worth rushing back to. Otherwise, we are happy with where we are now during lockdown and semi-lockdown. So, life of work from home is a new norm, they say. The shift of work to home brings new challenges to balance the official and personal. At my university, we are blessed with the high quality internet connectivity, tablets to everybody, and uninterrupted power supply. But when we talk about student at home, many students cannot afford high speed internet access. Even when I came here in the month of March, 21st March, I was using my hotspot of mobile to generate a talk like this. But then I found that this is not working, so I had one Wi-Fi installed and then high-speed Wi-Fi installed. Then
Mm.
only I am able to talk to you. Then a very significant section of students who work from home, they work from the cities and towns where electric outrages are happening almost for many hours and many days, especially because of the flood situations now, where only mediocre quality internet connectivity is available. Like in Kashmir, only 2G is available, and many students have only smartphone to connect to internet through hotspot, as I said. So those from rural hinterlands are constrained by facilities worse than this. So we have to design something more innovative to see that how we can create a new work culture. And talking from university point of view, universities are closed since 16th March till 31st July. They are officially closed as per UGC directive. Thereafter, we have been given a phased way to start. We have been told to conduct exam for the final year student. But again, how? That is a big problem, because you cannot do everything online. You have to find a blended approach wherein online and offline teaching, learning, and evaluation has to be blended. Digital classroom is indeed far more unequal than the physical classroom. I can always say This is a good technology, but it cannot substitute what we used to say chalk and talk, or blackboard teaching, or
Mm.
whiteboard teaching. So wearing tees and shorts, that is what we are comfortable with when we talk about work from home and all that. So again, there was a survey which appeared in a section of print media, how many people want to go back to the normal and go to the office and all that. And surprisingly, majority of them said yes, our output is more, we are giving more number of hours per day to the companies where we are working, to our universities. So for us, this situation is good, because we are working from the comfort of our home. Again, to bring them back to their workplace will be a challenge. So there are many challenges in education. COVID era has disrupted. I'm using the word COVID era because our prime minister said we will have two eras: pre-COVID era and post-COVID era. So
True,
we
true.
are still amongst the waves of COVID. We cannot say in Delhi COVID has reduced or Chennai it has escalated. Again, these waves will go on up
Film,
and down,
yeah.
and we will not know when this will totally end. And we are not sure about restarting classes, doing examination again. There will be delayed graduation. Already graduations have been delayed.
Correct.
It is not the question of only when we are going to graduate, but some people, some students, they call me, sir, whether we are going to graduate at all. So
Okay.
the impairment of academic progression plan,
Okay.
shrinking job. Many students who got offers, now people are backing out, or they are giving lower offers.
True, true.
So I think we have to tackle it by developing multiple skills. So again, we have to see that you increase your domain expertise, increase your specialization, develop some soft skill, entrepreneurial skill. And I was very happy. I got a call from some gentleman in Chennai who was with the film industry. He said, "Sir, now film shooting is not happening. I am jobless. I wanted to go into food business. Can you give me some idea?" So I told
Mm.
him that try to make one stable formulation of milk with turmeric. So I'm
Ah,
helping him. I'm helping him out. But in the meantime, I found that similar population is already there on the mother dairy booth. I went yesterday and I found one glass bottle being sold saying turmeric milk with flavors, different flavors. So again, these preferred opportunities are vanishing. They are reducing, and collaborative learning. Again, we used to proudly say that CMETS has got MOUs with so many universities abroad, and we used to have student exchange, faculty exchange. Again, how to do the exchange when even flights are not there, when your parties will not welcome you because you will always be looked suspicious whether you are asymptomatic carrier or symptomatic carrier. Again, there are restriction on travel, visa, quarantine. I'm afraid to go to Chennai, to be very frank. I was told 2 weeks home quarantine. Somebody said institutional quarantine in case you come positive in the test. So all these things is, I think, we have to see as a challenge. So life in the COVID-19 era, learn online is the in thing now. The life of work from home is the new norm. Living spaces have become workspace. Like this used to be my bar room, come music room. Now it is converted into a study room.
mm,
Homes are doubling up as classroom. The greatest quality one should have during challenging time is to challenge the challenge itself.
mm,
So
mm,
we are all trained to face challenge in the academics right from the beginning of our education to our journey in our academic careers. So our educationists and academicians have
mm,
raised vocation and are striving hard to continue their endeavor to provide the academic experience that the students are missing during transitioning from face-to-face learning to virtual mode. Again, there is some issues with some teachings wherein you have to have practicals, like
mm.
medical. We
Correct.
call it clinical experience. Clinical experience, be it for nursing, be it for occupational therapy. So unless until they touch a patient, feel the heartbeat,
Yeah.
tap it somewhere, so that experience, how to give that experience. Similarly, in engineering, in science, there are some lab experience which has to be practiced to perfect. So how to give that experience is a challenge, because you can't make a movie and say, okay, watch this movie and you will be perfect doctor tomorrow. I don't know what type of this thing. So again, when we say new normal in education, we are transitioning. So there are four changes which are happening mainly: shift of learning space. From
Mm,
public space, we are moving to personal space.
mm,
Shift of delivery, that is teaching methods from one size fit all to individualized and personalized to differentiated learning.
mm,
Because in our face-to-face learning, we used to have some group of weak students where we have to pay more attention to say that they are coming at par with other students. Here, how to do that differentiated learning is a big challenge in online teaching. Then shift of responsibility in the teaching and learning process from active participation of household member. Now, if my child get a homework, he will definitely come to me or to his mother and say, hey, Mama, I got this homework, can you help me? So we are now involving parents in the teaching also, in the school especially, and shift in the learning evaluation from final examination to formative assessment to conducting viva online. Like some of my PhD students, I have permitted my director research asset with the help of controller of examination and vice chancellor and registrar, start conducting online PhD viva. Don't wait for things to come back to normal. So people sitting in their offices, professors, they can take viva, and you can have a open this thing. Those who can attend, fine. Otherwise, virtually everybody can be connected. So that type of things has to be brought out. And again, a lot of things can be said about chalk and talk versus virtual class. Again, I will not go into it because webinar fatigue is also one thing we have to keep in mind. Normally, after 1 hour, people get fatigue. I think we have got very few minutes left. So, flipped classes is one USP of Saveetha, which is very popular in nowadays. People are approaching us to guide them how to use flipped classes in imparting teaching learning. And also, our learning management system is also quite popular. We are now even teaching many universities about how to adopt this learning management system to their this thing. So classroom of the future are going to be changed, whether you like it or not. Every classroom has to be digitized for any eventuality, because second wave we don't know, third wave when it will come again. You will get a letter, funny letter next day that again the lockdown has started in this city or that city or this university or that university because of some episode here or some episode there. Artificial intelligence and sensors we have to imply for digital evaluation.
mm.
Again, how to prevent copying, how to prevent cheating. We have to again come out with very innovative solutions. Daily, as a vice chancellor, I'm getting one or two mails from many of the startups where they are advising us different ways, and they are asking, they are offering their services, how they can help us in autonomous and crime transcending education, so that we become self-directed, self-driven
Okay.
education. So
Okay.
again, I think I'll end my talk by saying that India is doing exceedingly well in our fight against COVID. Let us take it as a very positive statement. We have raised preparedness. Now people know what is PPE, people know what is mask,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
know what is, this sanitizers, and their recovery rate is phenomenal. Some cities it is higher, some cities it is lower, but overall recovery rate I think is one of the best in the world. We have got low fatality rate, and
True.
we are coming out with a lot of TOTs, innovations, relief packages. PM has announced will continue till November. So I think we have come out from the fear zone. We are in the learning zone, and now we have to shift into the growth zone in this COVID era. So again, I would say that there are some positive things. Like out of 140 vaccines, 11 vaccines have entered into trials. And today morning, I got some Russian vaccine. They claim that it has passed all the tests. There are two vaccines which are there from Indian origin, Covaxin and Zycov-D.
Mm,
And for two other vaccines like AZD1222 and mRNA 1273, wherever
mm.
they are being researched, they have got linked with Indian manufacturers, because to UNICEF, I think 70% of their vaccine supply is coming from Indian manufacturers. So out of 140, I think 11 vaccines have already reached clinical trial stage. And telehealth, telehealth has come
Mm,
in very
mm,
big way.
mm.
Telemedicine has come in a very big way for remote monitoring to healthcare. And also DRDO, we have made about 70 technologies. I
Mm.
am very happy to say that many of these technologies were made by people who used to make missiles, explosives.
Okay.
They are coming out with biomedical product, and our own ventilator, our own raising a Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel COVID hospital, COVID-19 hospital in a record time of less than 2 weeks, are some of the good news which we can follow. And I will just share one small this nomenclature of a drug, remdesivir.
Mm,
This is a drug which is a miracle drug for COVID-19. It is coming out to be. It is developed by Gilead Science, a pharmaceutical based in Foster City, California.
mm,
And drug was developed by a team led by a Czech scientist, Thomas Cialar,
mm,
primarily for treatment of Ebola virus. It's
mm.
actually
Oh,
named after Ramesh E.M. Desigan, the lead scientist in the team of this Thomas, and Ramesh hailed from Rasipuram near Salem in Tamil Nadu. I'm very proud to say that. And
okay.
in 2002, he moved to California to work with Gilead Science and was instrumentally developing the viral pathway that could be blocked by this antiviral drug. So this drug has been named in his honor as remdesivir. This is one thing which many of us may not be knowing. And
Yes, yes.
and again, I think this whole COVID incidence, I take it as a opportunity, this challenge, and I think we have to be a change maker. India, wherein a very less amount of PPEs were made before, say, about 4 months. Now we are thinking of exporting PPE.
Mm,
Ventilator. We had a society called Society for Biomedical Technology, which is steered by a Double Lab in Bangalore.
mm.
They made one ventilator, I think about 10 years back, 10, 15 years back, with the help of PhD College of Engineering in Coimbatore, and then given this technology to various firms. And now we have got ventilators. We are making more than 1,000 ventilators per day, and government is thinking of permitting their export also. So all these things are very good sign. I am quite happy that as the innovators, we have all come out and we have proven our worth. And not only DRDO, CSIR, DBT, everybody is doing their best. Even our universities, our higher education institutes, they have come out and they have taken it as a challenge to see where the gaps are and to fill up those gaps at the world standard level and think of even exporting it now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It was highly informational. We have some questions from the viewers.
Yeah.
One, Krishna Sharma has asked, hello, sir. Any thoughts on the Environmental Impact Analysis 2020 draft, which was passed during the lockdown? The draft dilutes the environmental regulations, which will have serious impact on the biodiversity and local population. Any comments on
I,
that?
I think we have to revisit it because, as I said, this COVID waste,
Mm.
especially the medical waste, is going to increase, and not only in the hospital domain, in public domain also.
Right. True,
So
true,
we have
true.
to, I think, relook it at. This is a very important Environmental Protection Act is a very important act which was enacted after Bhopal incidents,
Correct.
and I think this is one act which will give us a very strong teeth and nail to fight that we protect our environment with the best force, best technical force. So I think we have to revisit it during COVID or maybe after COVID.
Sure. Thank you, sir. You actually answered the second question, which the same person has asked. They've also touched on the same plastic overusage, mass
Yes,
production, sanitizers, gloves. Thank you.
yes,
Thank
yes.
you. So now we move to the third segment, sir. Third segment is basically a surprise segment, which I told. This is you are now having a time machine. With that time machine, you are able to go back to your last day in college. So this version of you going back to the last day of your college, and you're seeing that your version 20 years old, what advice would you give to that 20-year-old?
See, time has taught me many things. I am learning every day. Even at this age of 62, I am learning every day. So all my learning, whether they are in DRDO, National Disaster Management Authority, or whether they are in university, academics,
Mm,
and all that, I'll put back and see that what I missed when I came out as a graduate or a postgraduate after my college was over, my younger students should not miss. I'll give them
okay.
ideas, I'll give them new challenges, new areas where they should work. And again, as I said, I'm very much against the word me too. So I want them to be working on some unique
Okay.
problems which should
Okay.
have applied utility for the society. We are all being paid by society. Government is investing a lot on research. Government is investing a lot on higher education. So we are duty bound to do research which will be useful.
Thank you. The second question is, if you are having a chance to become a CM, what are the three things you would change, sir?
CM.
CM.
Again, what I say that our gross enrollment ratio, I'm very proud to say when we say how many people enroll for colleges and all that, Tamil Nadu is the leader in the country. So our gross enrollment ratio is, as a country, is about 26%. People come to the higher education institute, and Tamil Nadu is near to 50. That is our ideal. So if I am given the chance to become CM, I will see to it that higher education institute, they will be given more funds, more facilities, and their hurdles will be cleared so that they can contribute to the task which they have taken of their own, whether they are central institutes or state institute or deemed university or private universities. Everybody is striving to give their best to the student to make them a better citizen, to give them education at par with the best in the world. So one thing is I will spend more on education. Second is
Mm,
healthcare. See,
mm,
healthcare, preventive healthcare is very important than therapeutic healthcare. If you look at cesarean operations done in the COVID period, number has drastically reduced. If you look to
mm,
professions in medicine which has suffered the most in COVID period, one is eye specialist, other is ENT specialist, and the third is dental specialist. Because nobody want their face to be touched.
no, sir. Yeah, true, true.
I had some problem with my. I got this eye operation done and artificial lens installed 3 years back. So there was a small problem. My whole family was saying, "Don't go to the doctor." It was a small laser operation. They were to, I think, create a hole in one septum so
Okay.
that light should not reflect back. I should not get this thing. So against all advice, I spoke to my one senior friend from services.
Mm,
So he said, "I am there. Please come, and I'll do it myself." So he did it, General Prihar, in Center for Sight, and I'm before you. So,
okay.
so this is, I think, things are changing. Things are changing, but we are taking it as a challenge. We are taking it as a challenge, and we are devising some new technology, new machines, new hand. I'm very happy when I entered the hospital. They took my Aadhaar card numbers, they
Mm,
took my temperature, they sanitized me. Even today, I had a haircut. My
mm,
barber sanitized me. He used disposable blades to clean my hair, and he was wearing all the precautions. He was acting
true,
in a more professional way. So I think this
true.
is the whole thing. And third thing, I think we have to press in the state when we talk about is improving the basic infrastructure. See, again, I feel very bad when after rain, small rains, we see flooding, urban flooding. I'm talking about, not to talk about the famous Chennai flood. I think we have to take some long-term measures so that this natural disasters which
Mm.
happens, we should be prepared, fully prepared to tackle them. And these are things which are coming every year. So I think we have to do something before they come. So these three things will be on my first priority list beside all other
Other,
things.
thank you, sir. Thank you. Now, the this segment is basically all your life, whoever you are today, in different stages, you would have had people supporting you, from family, friend, from professional side. You can go ahead and thank them. You can name them, and you can go ahead and thank them, sir.
Yeah, first and foremost, I thank my family because my family supported me after my marriage. My wife, she did 2 degrees. She acquired 2 degrees, B.Ed and M.Ed after getting married. I also acquired 2 degrees. One is 2 years postgraduate diploma in management and PhD after my marriage. Then my children's, because they are
Mm,
always been a pillar of sport. When I say I want to go to Chennai as a vice chancellor, they say, "Papa, why?" I said, because what I will do sitting at home after retirement, I want to work. And now when I am in this thing, I said I want to start my a small NGO for CBRN. Again, they are saying, "Papa, why you are creating problems for you?" I said, I enjoy this problem because somebody has to find some solutions. And if I can contribute a small bit from my side, I feel very happy and very contented and very satisfied that I have done something for the society. So this is all. And then, as far as my teachers, recently
mm,
we had Guru Purnima. So my
mm,
teacher has influenced me a lot. I can't name everybody, but Professor Harkishan Singh was one, late Professor Harkishan Singh, who got Padam Shri, who has influenced my life as a researcher, as a educationist. I have seen how he used to teach in the class. Pin drop silence. He used to make something with this chalk on the board, and something he will erase, something he will keep it. So at the end of the lecture, if you just see the board, that is a summary of what he has taught for 1 hour. So he knows what to erase, he know where to write, he know what to say. he never allows us to take notes.
Oh,
He said, "Listen to me, and you will remember." So if you listen to him attentively, I think that type of teaching learning method we have to imbibe. And also modern technology. I'm very happy that the university which I'm steering, they are coming out with innovative educational outcome methods almost every day or every hour. So they are thinking of new innovations. We have got new competitions designing some material. We call them edify competitions happening every week, where we are rewarding the person who come out with the best audiovisual materials and all that. So that type of things we have to, I think, incorporate not only books and books, because I remember we talking about open book examination in Delhi University now in 2020. In 1980,
mm,
Professor Singh has introduced 4 workshops in our
mm,
pharmaceutical chemistry this thing, and all were open book. And the challenge was that he will give you a problem in 6 hours. You have to find the solution. So he
okay.
used four spectra, UV,
Uh,
NMR, IR, and mass, and tell the formula. Bring a model, bring the model, show chirality. So all these things which we have learned in those 2 years in under him, and then subsequently, partly when I was doing my PhD work with him, I think this has a this thing. And second thing is the College of Pharmacy, where I did my graduation in Delhi and diploma. So again, we had excellent teachers, Professor G.K. Narayanan, Mrs. Sharda Sushil, Mr. Professor S.K. Agrawal, Professor R.S.R. Murthy, Professor A.K. Madan. So all these teachers, they have taught us something which even today we remember. We can teach those things to our students.
mm,
So I think I got the best of education, and also a PhD from Delhi University, chemistry department, Professor A. N. Metra. He helped me a lot, and my PhD guide, Professor Vinay Jain, who has, I think, made my journey to PhD a challenging one. And he opened me Indian Institute of Science, CDRI, University of Frankfurt, RN Institute of Medical Science. I used to go with a problem, sir, I
mm,
want to work on animal models. So this machine is available only at this place. Can you get me permission? Sir, I want to go to University of Frankfurt. So and so professor is working on this area. So and so professor, this cell line is available. Can you connect me with that thing and give me some money to sustain? So
mm.
he helped me a lot in uh, resolving all these issues, wherein I can see what is happening inside a cancer cell, living cancer cells, when we give different drugs, different
Mm,
therapy, different
mm,
radiation. So all these things is a part of my PhD, and a very difficult work it was, because to work in a new institute, to work on their system, to work with their chemicals, their this
mm.
thing, and without paying a single paisa to them,
Okay.
without paying a single naya paisa to them, using their machines which are costing 6 crores, 7 crores, and without giving any money to them. So this was, I think, he was the one. And then during my disaster management, this journey at National Disaster Management Authority,
Mm,
2005 to 2007, I was actively involved. Rather,
mm,
DRDO attached me to NDMA to make the CBRN guidelines. So
mm,
at that time, General Bhardwaj, General Bansal, so they
mm,
all helped me a lot, and various other members. I got cooperation from them, and I learned how to plan something for the country in terms of guidelines, in terms of action plan, in terms of SOP. So they rather taught me how to conduct a mock drill, how to do a tabletop, how to
mm.
conduct an exercise. So they are all my gurus. From them, I have learned something which I feel proud in practicing, proud in deciphering that knowledge to my progeny.
Thank you so much, sir. The entire session, 1 hour and few minutes, lot of content is there to digest actually, and all most of them it's the concentrated version where each one I think probably on a weekly basis we can take separate subject and then discuss for half an hour and
Yeah.
touch on those areas as well. Thank you so much, sir. The last question is if there's any one thing you would like to tell to the youngsters from your whole life, one message to the youngsters, what would that be, sir?
Take challenge in your life. Take something which is unattainable, which has nobody has attained it before, and look at how you can do it, and do it in a cost effective manner, because you have to translate this thing into something which is a product or a technology or a device, and which should be ultimately useful because government is investing on all of us. So we should be able to give it back to the government. We should be able to give it back to society. We should be able to give it back to the armed forces, or we should be able to give it back to the system who has funded us. So this is one small advice I'd like to give it to all chambers.
Thank you so much, sir. Lot of information, and I'm really happy that today we had this session, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Today we had Professor Dr. Rakesh Kumar Sharma. Every single topic which he touched is the need of the hour and the depth of knowledge and areas where he has worked and where he has contributed, where he is still contributing. I can only say this is something, the areas where he has touched. Every single student, every single viewer, the type of comments which he received actually reflects the level of knowledge and the depth which he has imparted in people around him. And we are happy to have more experts like this. We will have more, and we will definitely strive to bring more experts of this caliber. Thank you.